for their part in this friendly contest. This attitude of sportsmanship should be reflected by all spectators, no matter what their personal feelings of loyalty may be to one of the other two teams playing in today's contest.
Oh, yeah, because
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please rise. Remove your hats in honor of America for the playing of today's national anthem.
I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Middle Township, their head coach, Mr. Tom Baracco, a 5'10" senior number 11, Daryl Shelton, a 5'11" senior number 13, Tom Catanoso, a 6'2" senior number 22, Tom Baracco, a 6'2" senior number 24, Lamar Greer. And a 6'3" senior number 34, Micah Moore.
So much technology here, I can't even stand it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, keep this going right up for your Holy Spirit's purchase. A 6'2" freshman number 4, Leon Daniels. A 6'2" sophomore number 21, John Middleton. A 6'3" junior number 12, Johnny Mitty. A 6'7" junior number 11, Junior Santel. And a guard, a 6'2" senior number 23, Paul Moore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 97.3 ESPN.com's coverage of Holy Spirit and Middle Township. You can also see this broadcast at Cape May County Sports.com. Mike Gill and Tyler Donahue on hand here in Absecon to bring you this matchup between the Spartans and the Panthers. Tyler, we should get a good one today. Good indication of both these teams and where they stand in the Cape Atlantic League.
The story of both their seasons is promise unfulfilled last year. Both programs have something to work towards. Last year, both came up short in their bid for a Cape Atlantic League championship. Holy Spirit bowing out in the semifinal matchup against eventual champion Atlantic City. Middle meets their fate against Atlantic City in the CAL championship game last year. Much of those players from the returning teams, they come back. They're back in action, and they certainly have a Cape Atlantic League title on their mind. They can make that stretch run starting today, about a third of the way through the season. Big matchup. And one thing that sticks out here, Mike, is the size of Holy Spirit. When you look at Middle Township's roster and the guys on the court for Holy Spirit, something to watch here.
Yeah, it certainly is. I was talking to Tom Faracco beforehand, and he mentioned that, just look at the size between Atlantic City and Holy Spirit. He said these are two teams that are really, really big. They played Atlantic City last week. Now they got their hands full with the Spartans today. Middle Township wins the toss. The tip, they go left to right if you're watching the video. Greer on the right wing. Up top is Shelton. Shelton at the left elbow. He gets all the way into the corner. Dips it off for Farraco to Catnosa. Catnosa at the elbow. Bounce pass down low. And he steps on the end line. And Tom Farraco turns it over, and the Spartans get the ball. 7:33 to play first quarter. We're just started here in Absecon. Holy Spirit with Middleton, Moore, Mitty, Santil, and Daniels, a freshman, on the floor. They hand it off for Moore. Moore on the right wing. He hands it off for Santil. Santil with a left-hand dribble to the elbow. Kicks it out for Daniels. Daniels foul line jumper, no good. Strong rebound comes down to Catnosa. Out in transition the other way. Here comes coast to coast. Layup is blocked by Middleton. Middleton back in transition. Here come the Spartans. Cross-court pass. They get a little layup and good. Lay it in for John Mitty in transition. 2-0 Spartans.
Nice effort there. And you look at this Spartans team, only one senior starting today, Paul Moore, one of the most feared scorers at the guard position that we have in the Cape Atlantic League, as we have a foul here.
No, I think they got him for a travel. Catnosa tried to walk through. Holy Spirit putting full court pressure.
And Paul Moore suddenly limping over to the bench. Something wrong with his right leg, right foot. He'd take a seat on the bench, and that's a cause for concern here just a few minutes into the game. As I mentioned, Paul Moore, arguably the best senior guard we have in this league.
19 points a game plus for Paul Moore. Matt Summers, a sophomore, enters for the Spartans. This is Santil on the right wing. He'll have to pick up the scoring load for the Spartans. He's double teamed, and we're going to jump ball. The arrow faces Holy Spirit. 6:48 to play, 2-0 Spartans. Mike Gill, Tyler Donahue here in Absecon. Matt Ulmer with the video. Santil on the right wing. Up top for Mitty. Mitty in the corner for Daniels. Daniels back up top. Summers thought about a three at the top of the key. Now he kicks it into Middleton in the corner. Santil catches. Now on Summers on the left wing. Bounce pass over Mitty. Puts it on the floor. He spins to Santil in the corner, who goes baseline. Santil trapped, and he goes end line. And the ball hits that end line. That's the second time we've seen that. One for each team. They turn it over.
Talk about Holy Spirit's youth on the court right now. Just one senior in that starting lineup. Every single senior on the Panthers squad every single starter is a senior. So they are a veteran-laden lineup here.
Catnosa to the foul line. Kicks it out for Farraco. Farraco kicks it in the corner for Greer. Greer for three, and in and out, no good. Rebound knocked out by Shelton, and Catnosa, along with Middleton, collide, and they're going to get John Middleton whistled for a foul. 6:03 to play, 2-0 Spartans.
Middle Township settling for outside shootings. We know the Panthers like to establish perimeter offense before they get going inside. Thus far, to no avail.
Michael Moore is their 6'3 senior. He's really their quote-unquote big guy. This is Farraco, puts it on the floor. Bounce pass, nice cut down low by Greer, and a layup is good, and the Panthers are on the board at 5:48 of the first quarter. 2-2 is our score. Spirit in white, Middle in black. They hand off to Santil, who comes to the top of the key, puts a little shake move on Greer, then he kicks it out for Daniels. Daniels kicks to Summers for a three, and it's short, no good. Rebound, tapped out. It looked like they're going to get an over-the-back call on Leon Daniels. Tyler, he's a 6'2 freshman.
Yeah, another impressive youngster for this group. And not just young and talented, it's young, talented, and tall is the story for this Holy Spirit team. And Paul Moore makes his way back onto the court. Summers takes his seat. Nice to see him back out. Clearly not at 100%, though, the way he's moving around.
Yeah, Moore in, Summers out for Holy Spirit. Farraco bringing the ball up in pressure. Here comes Shelton up the sideline right in front of us here. Bounce pass to Greer, and it's long, but Catnosa catches on the other side, and they go right back to Farraco, who dishes it down low for Moore. A left-hand layup is short, and a rebound for Daniels. He swings his elbows, but he's fouled to try to clear out some space. I think they get Micah Moore, a 6'3 senior, for the foul.
That's twice now the Panthers have been denied down low. Moore misses an uncontested layup right there. And, earlier we saw Greer get blocked down low. Going to be an issue for the Panthers. Obviously, it always is with the size. Usually Farraco's teams can overcome it. Holy Spirit, as we mentioned, down in the post, much more of a presence defensively.
Here come the Spartans. Moore with a little alley-oop for Santil, who catches, but he has to come back down low. He flips it to Daniels, and the freshman gets two more.
That would have been something if Santil had connected on an alley-oop right there. He has that kind of jump out of the gym abilities.
Catnosa bounce pass to Farraco, who lays it in. So the pressure hurts that time for the Spartans as Middle beats it, and it's 4-4 with 4:43 left to play in the first quarter. Santil Middleton. Middleton bouncing to the right side. Now he gives up the dribble. They give it back to Santil on the left wing. This is Moore on the wing. Flip pass back to Santil. Little two-man game, and it's stolen away by Farraco. Shelton up the right sideline right in front of us here. Right wing, back to Farraco. Thought about a three. Now he swings it into the corner for Moore, and Moore's three is long, and the rebound's run down by Paul Moore. Excuse me, that was Greer with the three.
His second missed three-point attempt this afternoon.
Moore with a crossover. Now a little right-hand runner off the side of the rim, and the rebound comes down to Micah Moore. In transition comes Shelton. Daryl Shelton dribbles to the elbow. Now kicks it out for Catanosa for three, and it's good. Tom Catanosa gives Middle Township a 7-4 lead with 3:55 to play in the first quarter.
The kid they call Tomcat, instant offense. This kid can heat up at any point, especially from beyond the three-point arc.
Middleton hands off for Santil. Santil with a left-hand dribble to the foul line. He loses the handle. Now Farraco picks up the loose change. He's got 3-on-1. Oh, a nice little cutback on Moore, and Farraco lays it in, and Holy Spirit calls timeout. 9-4 the score, 3:33 to play. First quarter, Middle Township leads Holy Spirit.
That was a beautiful move right there. Essentially, it was a lateral jump step by the coach's son, Tom Farraco. Of course, pretty cool that Coach Farraco has an opportunity to coach his oldest son. His other son, Mike Farraco, a sophomore, started at point guard for the JV squad. He played before this contest, keeping it in the family here for the Panthers, and it's suddenly a 9-4 lead for Middle Township after not really getting a lot of offense together in the first few minutes of this contest.
Jamie Gillespie has won 74% of his games in 6 seasons. Tom Farraco has won 75% of his games in 31 seasons.
So, Coach Gillespie, if you do what you're doing for 25 more years, you're on target to be a Hall of Famer.
Got a lot of wins between these two today. 647 for Farraco, 116 for Gillespie. All the way to the rack. Santil with a little up and under spin move, good. And Junior Santel makes it 9-6, 3:10 to play first quarter. Jake Cohen into the game for Middle. Tom Catanosa trying to run some offense here. Farraco on the wing. Farraco stared down by Santil, a little kick out, and they get it to Shelton, who thought about a three. Now he puts it on the floor. Now he kicks it out for Catanosa. Three is on the way and long, and the rebound comes down to, looks like Middleton. Middleton back with the basketball coming up the left sideline here. Turn three, Moore off the back iron, no good. Rebound is Daniels, and the freshman carries it. He goes over the top, and Farraco says, hey, where's the over the back on that one? Paul Moore, belt high dribble between the circles. Working on Shelton at the elbow. He kicks it out now for Santil. Santil with the right hand. Gives up the dribble. Now back to Moore. Man-to-man defense here by the Panthers. Moore, elbow, all the way to the rack. He's a little contact, no whistle. Catanosa comes down with a miss.
Paul Moore frustrated so far. Looks pretty healthy now, but certainly something keeping him up on the right leg.
Catanosa with a three attempt from Greer in the corner. It's long. Moore with a rebound. Moore no look pass to Daniels. Daniels backs out. Now he kicks it to Santil. Santil tries to get some separation from Farraco. 2 minutes to play. First quarter, 9-6. Middle leads. Little catch at the foul line. Mitty. And Mitty kicks it back out for Moore, who's going to restart the offense now. Under 2 to play, first quarter. Daniels up top. Mitty in the corner for Santil. Up top again for Middleton. Middleton puts it on the floor at the foul line. He fires a pass for Daniels. Lost it, and then he runs it down. Daniels now trying to circle back up top. He's guarded by Cowan. In the corner now. Santil whips it to Mitty, and Mitty with a little foul line jumper. Good patience by Holy Spirit to make it 9-8.
Not settling for a contested jump shot and working the ball around, and Mitty with a nice touchdown on the jumper from the top of the key, and impressive for a guy his size. And
Catanosa. Farraco hits the deck. Catanosa dribble drive. He kicks it back out. Shelton bounce passes it over to Catanosa at the top of the key. We're at 1 minute to play in the first quarter. Greer all the way to the rack, and he's fouled. There's taking the ball hard and hitting the deck. He'll get to the line for his efforts.
I think in the last 2 possessions, we've seen 3 Panthers hit the floor. Clearly, this is a game that both teams want. It's been physical. The refs have been letting them get away with plenty. And a matchup to watch where I've seen some particular physicality is Lamar Greer of Middle Township taking on number 21, John Middleton from Holy Spirit. So keep an eye on that one. Those two covering each other both ends of the court.
First attempt for Greer is no good, and Summers in the game.
Lamar Greer, of course, the son of Lamar Greer, who helped take this team to 2 state championships in the early 90s, went on to a career at Florida State University and played overseas for quite some time over in Europe. Here's the son back in the Panthers uniform, and another thing where you say keeping it in the family here with this Middle Township team.
And Tri Greer just entered the game, a sophomore for Middle. So a pair of Greers on the floor, along with Tanner Kerr now. So some famous names for Middle, all in the game.
And a Farraco.
This is a who's who of Cape May Courthouse in the basketball game now for the Panthers. Moore, Summers, deep on the wing. Daniels almost lost it. Now Moore has to go get it. Back to Daniels. Daniels puts it on the floor, crossing over. 39 seconds, 10-8 Middle. Moore hands it to Summers, who lost it for a moment, and then picks it back up. Daniels bounce passes it right out of bounds. Good defense by Middle. They're really putting the man-to-man pressure on.
That's Cowan giving up a few inches to Junior Santil, and he plays him tremendously. He plays the man. Wasn't really looking at the ball. They try to force that pass in there. It skips out of bounds. You mentioned it. Middle Township, swarming defense right there. Now they look to milk the clock. It appears with about 24 seconds and ticking left in the game. The ball in the hands of guard Tom Catanoso.
Cat puts it on the floor, foul line all the way, and he kicks it out for Greer. Now Shelton looking for the last shot. They're double teaming Shelton. He bounces out of it. Catanoso, 8 seconds. And a traveling call.
With 7.5 seconds to go here, I would expect Jamie Gillespie to say, put the ball in Paul Moore's hands, let the clock run down, let him look for the shot. Paul Moore's a guy you certainly want to have in a situation like this.
Here comes Moore with 5 seconds. He's staring at that clock as he dribbles, and there's a little contact by Daryl Shelton.
Second team foul on Middle Township. 3 team fouls on Holy Spirit.
Just got a tweet from Mark Melhorn from the Press of Atlantic City. I guess he's been hearing me mention that Evan Turner needs to be traded. Someone's finally writing an article about that. Santil for 3. It's off the back iron. No good. And we end the first quarter with the score of the Holy Spirit Spartans 10 and the Middle Township Panthers 8. You are watching live coverage of Cape Atlantic League High School basketball at 97.3 ESPN.com and CapeMayCountySports.com.
Well, I think for the Middle Township Panthers, you have to be happy about having a 2-point lead here through one quarter, considering the way they started, missing on their first several attempts, especially from deep. Tom Catanoso's three-pointer put them on a road to some redemption for their offense because they were able to get some things going down low. For Middle Township, it starts on the perimeter. They get the outside shooting going, then they can convert inside. They did that successfully in last year's Cape Atlantic League title contest against Atlantic City. What happened in the second half, however, was Coach Gene Allen, who is in attendance today, watching this contest, the Vikings head coach. He implemented that incredibly swarming full-court press, and Middle Township was not able to respond. We'll see if Holy Spirit tries to put the pressure on them. Middle Township, a savvy team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. Holy Spirit so far looks a little bit mismanaged on offense. Still looking for the guy. Paul Moore took a seat there for a little while. Leg injury. He's been back out since then. Certainly favoring his right leg as he walks up to our booth here. But we'll see what Paul Moore has in store for the rest of this game because he was very quiet in the first half. And as we mentioned, averaging nearly 20 points per contest. Last year's leading scorer in the Cape Atlantic League as a junior.
Second quarter action here in Absecon. Spartans trail 10-8 over Middle. Shelton, Catanoso, Farraco, Greer, and Moore, the starters, back in the game for the Panthers. Starters on the floor for Holy Spirit as well. Tyler, both these teams not very deep. We saw Middle struggle with depth against the Atlantic City team that comes in waves.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think also with both these coaches, you have to earn your way onto the court, and they're not going to put hotheads out there. They're not going to put immature guys out there. So you'll see both teams go about 2 deep, especially Middle Township. Holy Spirit maybe use a third guy. They're actually down a man. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Some scores, St. Augustine 65, Southern 39.
After 3 quarters,
After
wow.
3. So a lot of people thought Southern would give them a challenge, not so far. Farraco gives to Catanoso. Here it's 10-8, Middle Township leading Holy Spirit. Farraco puts it on the floor. Back to Greer. Greer stared down by Middleton. And there's a foul off the ball down low on Junior Santil.
And he better be careful. Some demonstrative body language right there. You don't get away with much in high school without getting teed up.
You see Steve Gillespie, Jamie's father. He is absolutely adamant that call was wrong, and now Tom Farraco is in there. Did he call a double foul? Did you see a double foul called on that?
When both coaches are yelling.
It looks like he signaled that there was 2 fouls called. I think it was a double foul
Middle
on that
Township
particular
retains
ball.
possession here.
Right, Middle's got the ball. They're going to inbound it here on the sideline, and a timeout's taken. Now, Tom Farraco is out in the middle of the floor. They took a timeout. He says, we're not pushing them.
Yeah.
They're pushing us. And it's funny because next to us in the crowd here, I could hear a guy say, someone's going to get thrown out of the game. It seems like it's starting to get a little chippy down there.
I've seen a lot of players hit the deck so far, and we're just starting the second quarter. That first quarter was very physical, and you think when you start a game that way, it's going to continue to escalate. And, you know, maybe that guy in the stands you heard is right. Maybe both coaches have an opportunity right here, get their guys in the corner, calm them down a little bit, remind them to focus on the fundamentals and not so much the physicality of the game. Still 10-8 Middle Township right now. And as I mentioned, though, Holy Spirit a little short-handed. They're missing one of their senior leaders today with hurt his hand, actually. I was told by Dennis Smith, the Spartans women's basketball coach, that Mark Rasman broke his hand at some point during the week. So they're without him. He's a steady senior guard. He can play forward, too.
Now a little ticky-tack foul as Paul Moore, it looks like, whistled for a foul.
That's suddenly
They're setting the tone now.
Yeah, there's suddenly 6 team fouls on Holy Spirit, and so we might see a lot of free throw attempts from the Panthers here in the first half.
We're still at 7:20 first half now. A slow-moving second quarter. Shelton catches at the top of the key. Here's a guy who can get going. Gets all the way to the basket. Now he kicks with a nice pass. He hits Micah Moore with a pass, and the ball's blocked out of bounds, but there's a foul called.
Foul. And they're racking them up here for Holy Spirit. 17 fouls. That one was close, and certainly Middleton is not happy about it. He thought he had a clean block.
With 7:03 in the first half, Holy Spirit now has 7 fouls, which means a lot of line work here for Middle, and 3 fouls away from the double bonus. Left-hander spins one in.
Middle Township should be setting up shop at the charity stripe for a large portion of this half with 7 minutes remaining, and they'll be in the double bonus at this rate within a few minutes.
Both these teams get a little chippy out here. Got a double foul on Santil and Farraco back there. Then you had a Moore foul and another foul. You had 3 fouls in about 10 seconds came off the clock.
Yeah.
Missed the second one, rebound Spartans. 11-8 to score, Middle leads. 7 minutes to play, second quarter. Paul Moore kicks it out for Santil. We got an off-the-ball chippy again. And that one is on, it looks like, John Mitty. They got him for a little off-the-ball screen. What do you think of that one?
I think at some point the refs are going to have to find a happy medium between where they started the game and letting these guys get away with stuff, and now it's total lockdown.
And those of you who can see the video, obviously, at 97.3 ESPN.com and Cape May County Sports.com, it's a 3-man crew out there. A lot of times you get some more calls with these 3-mans than you would on a weeknight when there's usually only 2.
Right.
Catnosa between the legs, stared down by Moore. Catnosa with 6:45 to play. Bounce pass to Greer. Greer turns and faces the hoop now on the wing. Now he spins right of the lane, kicks it out for Shelton, and nope, he got called for steps.
Lamar Greer with the travel there. He coming off a big game. Last night's win over Hamilton. Led Middle Township in scoring in that contest. 23 points was the game high for Lamar Greer last night. So he's coming in hot.
6:28 to play. Moore has been really quiet. Santil, top of the key, looking for a little pick. Now he bounce passes it to Shamar Dixon just into the game. Moore goes baseline, now gets it to a little elbow jumper for Mitty, and Mitty splashes it, and it's a 1-point ball game.
Second time he's hit from that spot.
John Mitty with a nice mid-ranger. Shelton. Boy, Daniels is all up in his mug. Shelton with a bounce pass, a little lazy bounce pass.
He looks tired.
Now, that's what happened in middle against Atlantic City. They just look spent by the third quarter. They only play about 5-6 guys. Shelton up and under. He loses the handle. Now he fires across quarter to Cowan. Catnosa spins all the way to the hoop, and he is fouled. He just chucks one up to the basket, but they're saying that foul is on the floor. But they're going to go to the line regardless.
Yep. 9 team fouls now, so you see Middle get fouled, you hear the whistle blow, and it's on Holy Spirit. They're going to be going to the line for the rest of this half, and a nice opportunity for the Panthers to pick up some easy points. And points have been at a premium so far, just 11-10, Middle Township ahead.
Yeah, total of 21 points here, and we are about 11 and a half minutes through this game.
I don't know if it's the fact that it's a Saturday afternoon game, maybe the whole crowd's not here, but both teams seem playing a little bit sloppy offensively compared to what you normally see from both squads.
Catnos was first in out, no good, and the rebound snared down by Santillo. Middleton running the point for the Spartans. 5:18 play, first half. Santillo on the wing, bounce pass up top for Dixon. In the corner now for Daniels, looking for a little help. Daniels gets it over to Middleton. Middleton in the corner for Santillo. Santillo on the wing, back to Middleton. And a little off-balance runner, no good. Cowan slings down the rebound and gets it out to Shelton.
Holy Spirit has to find someone on offense to take the load.
Catnosa for 3. He steps into one, but he is fouled as he shoots. He lets that thing fire, and Shamar Dixon came out to get a hand in the face and kind of collides with him. And it looks like they're going to give him, let's see if they give him 3 shots.
Yep. Tell you what, Cadenoso, one of the more savvy players we have in the Cape Atlantic League. He knows how to draw fouls. I've seen them draw a few on three-point attempts, and there was another case right there as he knocks down the first free throw. 2 more to come. Cadenoso, of course, hit a memorable game winner in the Cape Atlantic League semifinals last year against St. Augustine. Took place at Hamilton. He drills the second free throw there. So he's an accomplished player, as is much of this Middle Township lineup. Greer, Farraco, Shelton, they've all been part of this run for a few years now.
Yeah, I talked to Farraco before the game, and he just kind of kept saying, my team plays hard. My team plays hard. He realizes they're not quite as big as a lot of these teams that are on that next level in the Cape Atlantic League.
It's been a while since they had a true big man down there in the post.
Santillo, bounce pass up top. Moore catches. Moore working with Shelton. Little left hand, switches to the right, goes right of the lane, and he's fouled. Fouls are 10-4 right now in favor of
Holy Spirit has as many fouls as points, Mike. That's, I mean, tells you what you need to know right now about the rhythm that they're lacking.
Spirit turns it over. Here comes Catnosa. Catnosa back to the top of the key. In the corner for Cowan. Down low for Farraco on the block. Now he pulls it out. Now he's just going to turn and fire, and that one rims in. 16-10, 4 minutes to play. So Farraco made it look like he was going to go out and just turn around and fired.
Second nice move he's made. Oh.
Got a pushing foul on Farraco now.
Farraco looked like he was about ready to follow in his dad's footsteps and chase down the ref there for a second.
He just tried to step in the passing lane there and just kind of had a little contact. Second foul on Farraco. He's going to take a seat with 3:58 to play. And it looks like they're going to get Greer back into the game. The younger Greer. He's a sophomore.
There's younger Greer. There's younger Farraco as well on the JV squad.
And a steal by Catnoso. Like a wide receiver, he goes and gets that. He fires up a layup, no good. But look at Shelton, the guy hustling back there to get that rebound. And Middle Township will regain position. A lot of coaches on hand here. You see Frank Brown from Oakcrest, Gene Allen from Atlantic City. I'm sure others are hiding in here looking at these two teams go at it. Catnoso kicks it out for Shelton. Shelton, boy, look at that. Daniels in his pickpocket. Shelton kicks it out, and an offensive foul. Shelton goes to the basket, and stepping in there is John Mitty, the junior, to take that charge.
Smart play by Mitty. He saw that Shelton was heading right towards him. He planted his feet, took the dive. That was not a dive. He earned that foul. Shelton takes a seat on the bench.
So Shelton out. He's had a rough day today, too.
He has. He's been dogged.
John Middleton walking up the floor. Middleton in the corner for Moore. Moore catch, shoot, and the three is long. No good. Rebound, Cowan. They outlet to Catnosa. Catnosa up the far sideline. Now to the middle, and it's pickpocketed from behind by Daniels. The ball goes out of bounds. It'll stay with the Panthers. 3:25 left to play here in the first half.
Holy Spirit with 10 points, just 2 points in the second quarter. Right now, it's got to be either Junior Santil or Paul Moore. One of those guys needs to get ignited, get some points on the board, because it's those two and a group of role players, young role players. Those two guys have been through the fire before, starters last season. They lose Johnny Summers, a senior who scored a lot for them last year. It's those two guys that have to carry the load. Both have been essentially non-factors offensively, and that's why you're seeing such a limited scoring output. Little break here as they polish the floor. Maybe that's why everyone was falling down. Interesting series of games here between Middle and Holy Spirit over the years. They used to be members of the same National Conference division, and since realignment, though, not playing as frequently as they used to. But for this group, particularly Middle Township, since there's so many seniors, since 2009, the Panthers hold a 4-1 advantage over Holy Spirit in the last 5 contests. Middle Township got them last year in Cape May Courthouse. So Holy Spirit has had some issues with this Middle Township team.
Catnosa gets the inbound pass with 3:20 to play. Micah Moore, Greer, Catnosa. Now the other Greer kicks it out. 3 ball on the way by Cowan. He hits front rim. It goes off the top of the backboard and out of bounds. You know, one thing about this environment, it always appears to be smaller in here. The court just seems smaller. Everything seems a little smaller in here than a lot of these other places. It seems like there's not a lot of space on these floors. The Spartan team is so big.
Yeah, it's one of those tightly packed gyms. I don't think anything compares to what they have going on at Wildwood Catholic.
No.
You watch yourself there. You might find a wall. But, yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of on top of you here.
Dixon to Moore. Moore, left-hand dribble, left to the lane. Now he pulls it back out. Moore crosses over to the foul line. Now to Dixon. Dixon for 3, and it's long, no good. And a foul. John Mitty's going to get called from behind, over the back. And now that's the 11th foul. They have more fouls than points.
I wanted to mention we're sitting right next to T.J. Anderson here, starting quarterback for the Holy Spirit Spartans. Just got their 3rd consecutive state championship, and looking for number 4 next year. T.J. will be back, and I had to make note of the shirt they're all wearing. It said, what does the shirt say here? Charlie Who. Yeah, Charlie Who, in reference to Charlie Roman. A few of those shirts around the premises today, and my first time seeing those. Charlie Roman, of course, the former coach at Holy Spirit, who left to take on the offensive coordinator job with St. Augustine.
Cowan at the line of the foul because it's the 1-and-1 situation, and he makes the first one to extend the lead to 7. 37-28. 17-10. Middle Township leading. And now 18. 8-point lead for Middle. 2:42 to play. Here's Moore. Moore crosses over, spins to the paint, now kicks it into the corner, and a 3-ball on the way for C.J. Barnes. So C.J. Barnes comes in and gives.
That's a freshman, too, right there. Another young player contributing for this Holy Spirit team.
Little spark. Catnosa to Greer. Lamar kicks it out, and it's stolen away. Here comes a freshman Daniels. Bounce pass to another freshman Barnes, and he goes all the way coast to coast. High off the rim, no good. Rebound, and from all the way back by half court, they are calling goaltending.
Paul Moore pleading his case. So is Jamie Gillespie in a little more
and I'll tell you, that's a tough
fashion.
Spot for him to call that.
That's a bold call,
especially
the heat he's been getting from coaches so far.
Gillespie is literally, and there's a foul off the ball.
That one will be on Junior.
Santil basically ran through Jake Cowan.
That's the same spot again, Mike. They just came out, polished it up. I mean, I don't know what's up with that spot, but we've seen about 4 guys now take a plunge, and they've all been Middle Township Panthers.
Jack Marzak into the game. for the Spartans.
You talk about both coaches using limited depth. Jamie Gillespie's going to have to find a way to use his bench today with all the fouls they're racking up.
Yeah, that's the third now on Santil. Cowan at the line. You know, Jay Cowan's that classic high school player. He's mid-size, just kind of nags at you, and you always see him hitting the deck. The other team's player, you know, always ends up fouling him because he's just annoying you.
Great defender, too. Very impressed by his effort so far in the game defensively. You're right. He's not the guy that's going to land on the front page of the newspaper, but in between the box scores and the teammates who do get the credit, they know what he brings to this team and what he brings to this lineup.
So Santil takes a seat with 3 fouls. Cowan misses the second, and C.J. Barnes with the rebound. He outlets it to Paul Moore. Moore crosses over, spins, kicks it out for Barnes. Barnes for 3. In and out, no good. Rebound on the floor. Panthers and Spartans on the floor, and it goes out of bounds. It'll stay with Holy Spirit. 1:51 to play, 18-13 to score. Spartans have 11 fouls and 13 points here in the half.
Their last 3 shots for Holy Spirit have come from freshmen. Stunning with Paul Moore on the court, still unable to get going. And you got to give some credit to Tom Catanoso for the way he's dogging Paul Moore there.
They inbound it to Dixon. Dixon in the deep corner, a 3-ball on the way. And Daniels gets it to fall.
Another freshman rattles it home there.
Leon Daniels, a 6'2 freshman for 3, and it's 18-15. Here comes Catanosa. In the paint, and he hits a nice pass, bounce down low for Michael Moore with a left-hand layup from the block. It's 20-15.
Suddenly it feels like this game has some momentum behind it now.
Moore just wanted to pull up and jack a 3, and Catanosa got a hand on it. Now he gets it to Barnes, who pumps, dribble drive all the way. He lost the handle and goes to put it back up, and Michael Moore got some body, and it's going to be C.J. Barnes, a 5'10 freshman, at the line.
Tell you what, he had Jack Marzik wide open there for a moment down in the paint, hesitated. He was able to recover after that bad pass, but Barnes here, not shy for a freshman, chucking up some shots, creating his own off the dribble. And without Junior Santil here on the court, I don't expect to see him for the remainder of the half with those 3 fouls. Of course, remember in high school, 5 fouls is an ejection. So they'll probably save Santil for the second half, and you're going to have to see something from these freshmen.
Yo, Paul Moore, I don't remember him scoring yet today. Do you have him for any points? I have him for no points.
He hasn't looked for a shot, really. He hasn't tried to create. I don't know if that is a lingering issue with the leg or not.
C.J. Barnes off the bench, hit a 3, and now has 4 points with the first free throw there. 20-17, Spartans back within 3. 1:16 left to play, and I think if Holy Spirit goes in with a 3-point, 2-point, or a lead or a tie here, they're probably feeling pretty good.
Absolutely. The way they've played offensively this first half, they just want to get to that locker room and regroup.
Second one no good. Cowan comes down with the board for the Panthers. Here comes middle with Catanosa, Cowan, Greer, and Moore on the floor. Catanosa dribbles all the way to the basket, bounce pass right back down low. Greer up, down, and no good. He walked.
Second traveling call against Greer, and that time I think he just heard footsteps. I think he had the layup. He might have seen some. He's been blocked once today already by Middleton, so perhaps he heard footsteps there.
Greer's a big, wide body, but he's not really a down-low player.
He's more comfortable on the perimeter. He's an exceptional 3-point shooter as well, and you're right. For being one of the bigger guys on this team, not really a presence down low.
Moore stared at by Catanosa. Catanosa's done a good job on him. Now they crisscross and change, and that's now Greer out on Moore. Barnes, ball high over his head, puts the ball on the floor, all the way to the foul line, kicks it out. Marzak back up top for Moore. Stares at the clock with 35 seconds, crosses over. Daniels, and Moore gets tripped, and he falls right into Daniels' lap, who takes it to the basket, high off the glass, and he's fouled, no good. The ball does not go in, but he will get a shot to go to the line.
I'll tell you what, Mike, I'm not sure what we're going to see from Paul Moore in the second half, but right now, very tentative, and certainly right there, just fine with standing back about a yard beyond the 3-point arc, and he's taking a long walk down to the end of the court here during this free throw attempt. Again, favoring that right leg, and that's not good for Holy Spirit.
You can see he's kind of hobbling around. We can see. Don't know if you can.
Right. And this is a team already down one of their senior leaders. They don't have many seniors, and one of them is Mark Rasman. He's out with a broken hand. He suffered that this week. Paul Moore will take a seat here, and I'm sure that the trainer will check him out during the half and find out what his issue is. Haven't seen anyone pay any attention to that yet.
Andrew Light into the game. Second free throw no good by Daniels. Rebound pulled down by Greer. So the middle's going to hold for 1. Catanosa just taking his time. Crosses the timeline with 20 seconds to play in the half. Catnosa, right hand, all the way, kick, and he lost the handle. It's going to be Holy Spirit ball, so he just kind of threw it out of bounds. There was nobody there, so now Jamie Gillespie's going to get Paul Moore out right out on the floor again.
Not sure what happened there. It looked like he caught Cowan out of the corner of his eye there. Was going to hit him for a three-point attempt.
Holy Spirit tries to inbound, and Moore.
You want to talk about a pest.
Back
talk about a pest. Catnosa relentlessly defending the inbounds pass right there. Great job.
3 seconds, crosses the timeline. Moore behind the back. Now he's going to fire up a shot, and it's off the back of the glass, hits iron, and that will be the end of the first quarter. With the score, the Middle Township Panthers 20, the Holy Spirit Spartans 17. You're listening to Cape Atlantic League basketball on 97.3 ESPN.com and Cape May County Sports.com. Mike Gill and Tyler Donahue are here at halftime. And, you know, Tyler, you did your show today and Thursday Night Hoops. You got a good read on the first month of the basketball season. Let's get your thoughts on the first little month that we've seen here and what the Cape Atlantic League playoffs might look like.
Cape Atlantic League playoffs was so fun last year. It was the inaugural run of this new postseason bracket. 6 teams involved. The top 2 seeds got a bye. And the way it works is now 8 teams are involved. There's no more byes. So regardless of what your record is when you finish the season, you're playing in that first round. So that welcomes in more wild cards, which is interesting. Both these teams finished second in their respective conferences last year, took the wild card spots, made a nice run. Middle Township went to the Cape Atlantic League title game. They bowed out against Atlantic City. Both these teams were actually bounced by the eventual state champs at Atlantic City during that playoff run. So this year, Holy Spirit, Middle Township certainly right back in the thick of it. Both bouncing back with nice wins on Friday. Just last night, actually. Egg Harbor Township lost to Holy Spirit last night. It was a nice bounce back. They scored 63 points last night, Mike, if you can believe it. They've got 17 in this first half. That goes to show you what Middle Township's defense is doing. And then you look at the way that the Holy Spirit has played throughout the season, a little uncharacteristic what we've seen today. They're right in the middle. They're undefeated in the American Conference. Atlantic City right there with them. Atlantic City undefeated on the season. They are the last remaining Cape Atlantic League team that has escaped without a loss this year. And as we mentioned before, Coach Gene Allen, the head coach of those Atlantic City Vikings, is in attendance. They take on Holy Spirit Tuesday. And I'll tell you what, if Holy Spirit doesn't get its act together offensively, they're going to turn the ball over about 30 times because Atlantic City capitalizes over and over again on other teams' mistakes, just as they did during that title run last year. So Atlantic City certainly the front runner right now. And you talk about surprises, you point to Hamilton. The Blue Devils this season so far, very impressive. 8-3. They had a big loss last night. It was an opportunity for them to beat Middle Township at home on their home court. They fall short of that one. And then last Friday, Hamilton as well, missing a chance to get a big win when they lost to St. Augustine. And last we checked, St. Augustine was rolling over Southern Regional, over 60 points through 3 quarters. They were winning by almost 30 points. And that's pretty surprising. I had Mike Gesicki on the show this morning, Southern Regional star player, averaging about 22 points per game. Already has 1,000 points as a junior. Clearly, this is not the case for Southern Regional today. He said they were feeling pretty good. Felt like they had some momentum going behind them. That means, that gives some credit to the Cape Atlantic League because that's one of the premier teams in that shore conference up the road. Cape Atlantic League bouncing them right now. Hamilton defeated Southern Regional just a couple weeks ago during Southern Regional's holiday tournament. So Cape Atlantic League shining bright so far this season. Of course, the top of the Cape Atlantic League is the defending state champs and the team many consider to be the best squad in South Jersey, Atlantic City.
The Cape Atlantic League playoffs are now in year number 2, Tyler. If they were to start right now, what are we kind of looking at? And it seems like, I was talking to Tom Williams about this the other day. It seems like those brackets are almost pretty solid except in the United. But it looks like the American and National are pretty much going to be pretty secure at this state.
Almost status quo for the Cape Atlantic League American and National conferences so far this season. They got Atlantic City, as we mentioned before, atop the American Conference. They certainly seem like a favorite to lock down a playoff spot very early, as does Holy Spirit, Middle Township, and St. Augustine Prep. Those were the final 4 teams left standing last year during the Cape Atlantic League playoffs. Lo and behold, they sit atop their respective conferences. Hamilton, as we mentioned, making some noise in the National Conference. They're in a wild card hunt, as is Egg Harbor Township in the American Conference. They have Kari Harlee, who is an underrated player there for the Eagles, and thus far been able to carry them. They're above 500 at 7-4. They're a nice team. And then you go over to the United Conference, and it is a mad dash, and that's what makes this conference so unique. It's a lot of newcomers. Cape May Tech, not necessarily a newcomer anymore, but one of the later additions to the Cape Atlantic League, and now this Atlantic Tech is now in the picture as well. Those two teams towards the bottom right now, but you look at the top of the United Conference, Wildwood Catholic has won 9 games in a row. They're getting hot. Coach DeWeese's squad is playing very well. They're in a jumble, though, of teams. Sacred Heart and Pleasantville both playing well atop the United Conference as well. And don't doubt St. Joe's skills, because that team has pulled off some impressive wins so far. Cedar Creek in their second year as a varsity program as well. They have the capabilities to do some damage. Of course, with Damon Mitchell, we saw what he can do on the football field. Not quite at that level on the basketball court, but he's a nice piece of the puzzle there for Cedar Creek's young team. So United Conference is just a rat race, and then you talk about National and American Conference, and you're talking about kind of the old boys club for the Cape Atlantic League when you talk about those top 4: Middle Township, St. Augustine, Holy Spirit, and Atlantic City.
You had Christian Mortalite on the show the other night,
right,
on High School Hoops Tonight. You can listen to that show on Thursday nights from 6 to 7. What about Hamilton? What are they? Are they a team that could be one of those wild card teams that makes it to the playoff? They're adding 2 wild card teams this year.
Two wild card teams, and say goodbye to the bye. It was 6,
Right, so it's going to be an 8-team tournament, 1 versus 8, 2
right,
versus 7. So who are the 2 teams that look like they have a strong case to be one of those, or both of those wild cards?
I would say, Hamilton, they still have yet to make that prove-it game count. They had 2 opportunities so far this season. Yes, they're 8-3. Yes, they did beat Southern Regional on the road at Southern Regional's holiday tournament, but as we're seeing today in the St. Augustine team, maybe Southern Regional isn't quite as good as their record would show, despite the fact that they do have some impressive athletes there on the Rams team. But Hamilton, they've had 2 shots here now. St. Augustine and Middle Township, both times they lost. The last night they lost on their home court against these Middle Township team. Lamar Greer had 23 points in that game. So Hamilton, they have a chance next week. They play Holy Spirit, and I know Christian Mortalite said it's imperative that they win one of those 3 games. He said that they have to beat one of the old school playoff caliber teams that they haven't been able to in the past. You talk about Hamilton, you talk about football. You don't talk about basketball. And, that's been the case for so long. And Hamilton has a chance to reverse that trend if they make a playoff run.
They had a team, I think, 3 years ago that went to the Cape Atlantic League Finals?
When Mike Gatley was still over there as athletic director,
right,
yes.
Like 3 or 4 years ago.
And that's a rarity, and this is one of those teams, maybe you get together and make a run here. They're not necessarily a program that would have staying power perhaps, but what they have right now with the nucleus they have, they're certainly a front runner for one of those final wild card spots. And Sacred Heart, another surprise, playing very well, 6-0 on the season. I expect Wildwood Catholic to eventually pull out and come on top on that United Conference. And beyond that, though, Sacred Heart and Pleasantville, of course, you can't discount either, but they're very young. So we'll see what happens. Egg Harbor Township as well. It's going to be probably about 6 teams playing for those final 2 wild card spots. I think that the other 2 wild cards are definitely coming from American Conference, and there can be 3 wild cards from one conference. So it's not really you don't vote on this. It's basically purely based on your conference record, your league record, and that's how it's meant to be.
We know Atlantic City's playing St. Anthony's next Saturday, which might be one of the biggest games that this area might be able to follow.
Yeah.
A lot of people, Middle's played both those teams. And Tom Fracco's comment after that game, Tyler, was that they close in terms of defensive getting in your face almost as good, if not better, than St. Anthony's does. What do you think about where Atlantic City is as opposed to everybody else down here?
I mean, I love where Atlantic City is right now. They have a tremendous blend of veteran leaders and young up-and-comers. They have a couple sophomore role players last year who have emerged as junior standouts, and you had a chance to see that in person. White is one of the leading scorers right now. Last year he was an afterthought. He was kind of like the 8th man in the rotation. And then you bring back so many veteran leaders from last year's team. Deshaun Reynolds, of course, at the kind of like a swing man on that team. Jaleem Montague, despite playing with knee issues, is playing tremendously well defensively. Jabril Chandler, though, is a big part of the equation that why I think this team is good. Kayshawn Dunston, the senior they had last year, was good. He was very effective offensively, worked his butt off on defense, but Jabril Chandler, everything seems to come to him a lot more smooth than it did last year. He's a lot more in rhythm with what Gene Allen is expecting from him, and we've seen him put up double-double after double-double. I think right now it's hard for me to imagine Atlantic City not running the gauntlet here, not necessarily finishing unbeaten, but maybe, finishing the Cape Atlantic League season unbeaten. This is how good that Atlantic City team is, and as you mentioned, St. Anthony's has rolled over a lot of opponents here. They played in Egg Harbor Township earlier this week, and they beat them by almost doubled them up. But St. Anthony, check out Atlantic City. I mean, they have a great resume. St. Anthony might have more of a pedigree at this point, but if you're talking about the hot hand, it's hard to beat what Atlantic City, the kind of role they've been on since early February of last year.
Speaking of St. Anthony's, they're up 38-12 on CBA with 4:16 left in the third. So St. Anthony's continuing to be impressive. We saw them you heard them on 97.3 ESPN Radio against EHT, where EHT played well with them for about a half, but they wear you down. I mean, you got so many Division I athletes. That's what happened. Middle played Atlantic City tough for a half. The third quarter, you get worn down.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what happens in the second half here, because both these teams really don't play a whole heck of a lot of players. So I don't know that one of these teams will fatigue become a factor later on in this game.
I think that
especially Holy Spirit played last night.
Well, they both played last night. Middle played Hamilton on the road in Hamilton, so that's 2 road trips. Yeah, I mean, coming down from Cape May County, that's 2 long road trips on back-to-back days within a span of about 15 hours. So, you're right, fatigue will be a factor. I don't think we've seen either of these teams come out sharp with fresh legs. But the issue right now is Holy Spirit's fouls. They have a lot of guys in foul trouble. Junior Santil, for one, with 3 fouls. And looking back on the court here, Paul Moore is on the court. Was curious to see how he would come out of the locker room after an ineffective first half where he looked to have some kind of leg injury.
Second half of play has begun here on 97.3 ESPN.com, Cape May County Sports.com. Mike Gill, Tyler Donahue, and Matt Ulmer on video today here in Absecon as Moore takes it to the basket. He gets fouled.
Like to see that from Paul Moore. He didn't really show much of that assertiveness in the first half, and that's what they're going to need from him this entire second half. Someone has to be the catalyst for this offense. It normally is Paul Moore, and it's going to have to be again this afternoon.
So Paul Moore at the line for Holy Spirit. He'll get a couple of shots here. And the first one is long, no good.
Still looking to connect. He hasn't found the net yet tonight.
No, he has been held scoreless here in the first half. Second attempt long, no good, and the rebound Michael Moore.
Again, this is a guy who averages close to 20 points per game. Last year as a junior, he was the Cape Atlantic League's leading scorer. So if he's not getting going, it's hard for the Spartans team to really find its rhythm in any way, shape, or form.
Lamar Greer taking it all the way to the basket.
He likes to turn into a running back once he hits the paint, man. He goes high and tight with that ball. He's had a couple of travel calls tonight, and that was close again. Contact probably beat the travel, but the refs are certainly on top of it, so he might want to be a little more aware.
And here comes Summers as quickly Santil is going to take a quick seat because he picks up his 4th foul. I don't remember him scoring either in this game.
No, and Jamie Gillespie doesn't even look at him. I'm sure that a point of emphasis during halftime was telling Junior avoid ticky-tack fouls, and he picks one up here early in the third quarter.
So he's got 4 with 7:19 to play in the third quarter. You might not see him until about the 4-minute mark of the
It's going to be a juggling act for Coach Gillespie.
Shelton for 3. Short, no good. Rebound. Comes out to Lamar Greer. Lamar Greer puts it back up, and it rolls around the rim. He's fouled. It almost fell down, but he'll get to the line for his efforts. And Holy Spirit, this has been a struggle for them all day long. Fouls have been called frequently. They stopped putting your fouls up after 10. I think they had 12 in the first half. They now have 2 here in the second half. 14 fouls, 17 points.
Interestingly, as Greer converts on the first free throw to make it a 21-17 advantage for Middle, Holy Spirit has been putting up points in Cape Atlantic League action. 73 points against Mainland, 85 points against Vineland, 66 against Absegami, and last night they scored 63 against Egg Harbor Township. It's not like this is an inept offense for Holy Spirit. Got to give a lot of credit to Coach Farraco, and you also have to factor in the fact both teams did play last night. We haven't seen much semblance of offensive beauty tonight.
Paul Moore today brings it up. Gives it to Middleton. This is Daniels. Cross court for Moore. Moore trying to shake and bake on Catnosa. Three ball on the way, Middleton. Front rim no good. Rebound, Farraco. Farraco in transition to Catnosa. Catnosa left of the lane all the way to the basket. Shoots one up and no good. Rebound. 4 Spartans underneath, and somehow a Panther got in the mix. This is just out hustle right now.
That's Catanoso being Catanoso right there. He always gets his nose on the ball right there, and he does it again against 4 Spartans. You're right, though. That's court awareness. And remember, they're playing sophomores and freshmen on the court. Middle Township right now, every man on the court has plenty of experience under their belt.
Ball on the floor one time. Daniel swings it to Mitty. Back up top for Summers. Moore straight on 3. In and out, no good. Rebound Greer, hands off. Catnosa right sideline. Farraco 3 ball. Good. Farraco on the right wing makes it 25-17.
This is getting dangerous for the Spartans. They have not been able to get anything going in the set offense. That's the thing, too. They haven't been able to create any offense from their defense. Middle Township's been a nice job of protecting the ball.
Summers, belt high dribble. Looking for some help. Lost it, then pushes it towards Daniels in his backcourt. Some people thought maybe Middle might have tapped it that way, but it looked like Summers kind of pushed it.
That's a sophomore Summers and a freshman Leon Daniels. Miscommunication, not on the same page, and it cost them dearly because right now down by 8. Holy Spirit can't afford to fall behind the way their offense has been playing.
Farraco inbound to Shelton. Shelton to Micah Moore, left wing. Moore up top. Farraco thought about a 3, puts it on the floor. Elbow, kicks it down low. Greer, a little up and under, puts it up. High off rim, no good. Rebound. And here comes the Spartans in transition. They trail 25-17, 5:30 to play. Third quarter. Moore, long 3, good. Here come the Spartans, down by 5, just kind of hanging around. Catnosa up the wing. Shelton catches, thought about a 3. Cross court, Farraco. He thinks about a 3, puts it on the floor. Shovel pass stolen away by the Spartans. Here they come. This is Daniels, 2-on-2. Moore thought about a 3, puts it on the floor, and he walked.
Nice thought by Moore. He faked the 3-pointer after converting on the last one. He was going to try to take it to the basket. Travels, though. It's been that kind of afternoon, aside from that 1 3-point made for Paul Moore.
5:08 to play, third quarter. Shelton, cross-court, Catnosa. Farraco, belt high, back to Tommy, who has it on the P in spirit at midcourt. Greer. Catnosa to the baseline. He throws one off the side of the backboard. Paul Moore out in transition. Left sideline. Crossover. Left of the lane. Summers, 3, short, up top of the backboard, and they turn it over.
Matt Summers, a sophomore, his older brother Johnny last year hit some clutch shots for this Holy Spirit Spartans team. He was a steady hand at the guard position.
Inbound, Catnosa. He went backcourt, they didn't see it. 1 foot was over.
Jamie Gillespie saw it.
Catnosa for 3, and he buries it. The ref saw, though, he had 1 over, 1 back, so that's safe, and he throws it behind him. Need to have 2 over to go backcourt.
Right, to establish that.
Moore for 3, short, no good. Now 1 and done for the Spartans. Catnosa with a rebound. Lead expanding to 8. It could be double digits on this one. Shelton, a dagger, down it goes. And Middle Township has an 11-point lead, 31-20, with 4:05 to play in the third quarter.
Tell you what, you said it, dagger. The way this game has gone so far, 11-point lead seems insurmountable. It's been pretty disconcerting the way Holy Spirit's offense has performed. I mean, watching Paul Moore, pulling up 3-pointers, not a lot of movement down low. Middle Township, it seems like every time they set up shop in their offensive end, they have a game plan. They've got guys moving around. They have guys looking for open jump shots. They're all on the same page. Meanwhile, Holy Spirit just disconnect. Guys are not looking at. They're looking at each other with disbelief right now as they walk off to the huddle here. Coach Jamie Gillespie has to come up with a game plan. I'll be curious if he keeps Junior St. Tail on the bench right now. I mean, you might as well play what you got.
Middle now leads 31-20. D_Shelton05 on Twitter drains a 3.
Everyone's on Twitter.
D. Shelton following us at 97.3 ESPN on Twitter.
Shelton, you can tell he's tired. I mean, you can see he's not fresh right now. That's a huge 3, though. That's the confidence these guys have. he pulls up, takes that three-pointer without hesitancy, and you're seeing a lot of hesitancy on the side of Holy Spirit. Aside from Paul Moore, not a lot of these guys have made big-time shots, especially against an opponent like Middle Township.
Here comes Middleton to Daniels. Daniels up top, Mitty. Summers plays catch with Moore. Moore to the elbow. Now he kicks it out for Middleton. Middleton with a little baseline jumper. It's long and strong rebound for Farraco. Farraco up the center of the court. Looks for Catnoso. Baseline, spins Shelton. Shelton to the foul line. It's blocked away by Daniels, but the block comes out to Tommy Catnoso. Catnoso now back to Farraco. They reset the offense with Shelton, who hands to Tommy Catnoso.
They've got no problem taking things slow at this point.
3:21 to play third quarter. A little step through by Shelton. He loses the handle. Stolen away. Bounce pass. Moore coast to coast. The layup is strong. Back and good on a layup by Middleton. And John Middleton will get to the line to try to make it a three-point play. And Holy Spirit hanging around.
Boy, Middleton turning garbage into gold right there. They needed that badly. Paul Moore misses the layup. Middleton will head to the line now, try to cut this deficit down to 8 points. It's a 31-22 Middle Township advantage. So far here in the third quarter, Middle Township outscoring Holy Spirit 11-5.
And Middleton hits the free throw, and it's 31-23. Shelton back the other way. Shelton pull up, 18-footer, good.
And that's how you beat the full court press right there. Textbook for Coach Farraco's squad.
He shot that with confidence. He just pulled up in transition. Moore and Daniels on the left side. Moore top of the key. Back up top for Middleton. Middleton over to Summers. Summers. Mitty and Daniels. Moore nearly stolen. Now Moore kicks it out. Three ball on the way, and it's long, no good. Moore gets a long rebound. Holy Spirit does not have the shooting touch today. Told last night, Moore had no points in the first half, scored 21 in the second half against EHT. Long three, and the rebound is run down by Farraco. Here comes Middle in transition. Tipped away, but Catnoso runs it down. Catnoso up top. Farraco, wide open three, front rim no good, rebound to Mitty.
I don't understand why no one can test that shot.
Moore. Little shake and bake on Catnoso all the way. Left hand blocked away from Cowan on the backside. Here comes Greer. All the way, layup good. Lamar Greer with two more, and it's a 35-23 lead. It's the largest of the afternoon.
Put that one on a poster. That is the definition of how this game has gone. Nice move by Moore, the first really aggressive move he's made, and it's swatted away by Cowan.
Up top, Mitty to Summers. Paul Moore. Moore looks like the only guy who really wants to take a shot out there for Holy Spirit. Daniels. Daniels puts it on the floor twice and gives to Moore. Moore on the wing, 1:30 to play. Summers crosses it over to Mitty. Mitty gives up the dribble. Now Middleton with a three, long, and it goes out of bounds, but it's saved by Middle.
Holy Spirit has to come up with that rebound. Sorry, Mike. Holy Spirit has to come up with that rebound.
Shelton for three, splash. It's a Maurice Pierre kind of day, man. A lot of splashes for Middle Township.
Absolutely.
Shelton with another three. He's got 8 points in the quarter. Moore, now he tries to force one. He runs, but a rebound right there by John Middleton. 38-25. Spartans now showing the pressure. 45 seconds. Farraco gets it over to the timeline. Farraco, bounce pass to Shelton. Shelton, little up and under spin. He gives it to Farraco. Farraco back to Shelton. 30 seconds to play third quarter. 38-25, Middle leads. Catnoso, three ball, down and no good. Hits off the top of the iron, comes all the way back down and hits the floor. Moore now with 20 seconds, stares at that clock, crosses over, loses the hand on Catnoso. Is going to be called with a little foul.
I don't know. Holy Spirit content to stick to that zone. They're leaving guys wide open for three-pointers right now. Catanoso had a look there, and Darrell Sheldon with two of them so far in this quarter. Darrell Sheldon's doing exactly what the Holy Spirit needed Paul Moore to do in this quarter, and that's igniting an offense. Middle hasn't exactly been the most fluid offensive effort today, but they're putting in the effort, and I think that's the difference right now. We're seeing rebounds hit the floor and bounce twice before anyone's getting on them for Holy Spirit. Troubling just to see from an effort standpoint for the Spartans.
Spartans have the ball, 10 seconds left to play. Final shot in the third. Moore slings it over to Mitty. Mitty hands it to Middleton, who loses the handle. Here comes Catnosa. Middleton's going to get the last shot all the way. Layup, no good, and that's where we're going to end it here after 3 with the score. The Middle Township Panthers 38, the Holy Spirit Spartans 25. You're watching live coverage of Cape Atlantic League basketball on 97.3 ESPN.com and CapeMadeCountySports.com. Mike Gill, Tyler Donahue, and Matt Ulmer on video today here at Holy Spirit High School in Absecon, where the Spartans are trailing Middle Township, who had a nice third quarter there.
18-8, they outscored the Holy Spirit Spartans in that third quarter. Middle Township finally had some offensive explosion there. They scored 10 points in both of the first 2 frames of this contest. Come out, find some efficiency. Darrell Shelton goes bonkers from beyond the arc with 2 deep 3 balls, and they score 18. Meanwhile, same old story for the Holy Spirit Spartans. They have not managed to reach double digits in scoring in any of these quarters. Lo and behold, they've got 25 points right now entering the fourth quarter. Paul Moore cannot do it by himself. He's trying, and it's clear that he doesn't have his best stuff today. Maybe on a day where he had his best stuff, he could carry this team. Today, he's not connecting on his jumpers. He looks sloppy with his ball handling. I don't know if whatever leg injury he suffered early there in the first quarter has bothered him throughout this contest. And Junior Santel was forced to set up about 7 minutes and 40 seconds of that third quarter because he picked up his 4th foul. And would be very surprised if we didn't see Junior Santel walk out onto the court right now.
He's out there now to start the 4th.
He has to be. And, of course, now he's playing while knowing if he commits 1 foul, he's out of the game. So expect Middle to attack him early and often, trying to get him out of this contest.
You just saw Darrell Shelton tell Tom Farraco, hey, we got 4 timeouts left. So smart players out there knowing the situation, knowing what they have. If we get in some trouble, hey, we got 4. We can burn them. We have a lead here. Farraco hands off to Catnosa. Long 3 ball, and it's good. Wow, from about 3 steps behind the arc, Catnosa buries one. 41-25 Middle.
I think that they drew that one up as a statement. They wanted to get an opportunity for Catnosa, take a 3 ball there, and he converts.
Barnes into the game, gave some offense to the Spartans in the second quarter. He's in now. Moore with a 3. Front rim, no good. Rebound. Spartans get it. Middleton puts one up. He's fouled, and it goes down and good. Rolls around the iron, falls down, and every time Middle pulls away, Holy Spirit gets that basket, just kind of keeps him within distance.
Middleton, of all their youngsters so far this afternoon, been most impressed by him. He seems to be aware of his surroundings a little bit better than some of his young counterparts. He's a sophomore, goes to the free throw line here after converting the layup on the foul. And he sinks it. Holy Spirit now down 13, 7:20 remaining in the contest. Middle Township not wasting any time getting down the court.
Farraco catches, bounce pass back to Catnosa. Shelton and Catnosa way out by the timeline. Bounce pass up top to Farraco, who gives it back to Catnosa. Catnosa walks to the top of the key. Gives up the dribble to Shelton. Shelton back to Catnosa. And now Shelton catches again. Shelton waits for the double team, then he spins baseline. Bounce pass, Greer for 3, and that play set up beautifully, and he drills it in the corner.
They have heated up from 3-point territory this entire half.
And yet, that's Greer's first 3 of the game. 44-28. This thing's almost ballooning to 20. Moore looks like he might have got his back of the foot on the sideline over there.
And for a very proud program here at Holy Spirit under Coach Gillespie, this is starting to get a little embarrassing. This is not the level of play they're accustomed to bringing onto the court, game in, game out. Very uncharacteristic for the Spartans, mentally, physically, all day today.
Near steal by Moore. He pokes one, and it rolls out of bounds.
St. Augustine making a statement on their home court today as well in the Cape Atlantic League with a big victory over Southern Regional. We're seeing Middle Township assert themselves today. Those two teams duking it out for a conference championship in the National Conference.
Bounce pass over to Greer. Greer back court, cross court to Catnosa. Catnosa in the corner for Cowan. Cowan puts it on the floor, baseline, right, and finds a wide open Lamar Greer, who flexes as he puts one in to let him know we got you by 18 now, 46-28. Biggest lead of the day, 18 points. Santil back in with 4 fouls. Crosses over. Little jumper for Mitty. It's long. Rebound, Greer, and there's a body flying on the floor.
Mitty made the first couple attempts from that range. He's missed the last few, though. Seems to have lost his rhythm from right there. But Junior Santel, I talked to Junior before the season started, and he said the one thing he wanted to work on more was creating offense off the dribble, because when you look at Junior Santel, the athleticism is undeniable, but right now, still a work in progress. As you can see, he can't really get a lot going off the dribble, has to rely on passing.
Shelton, Cowan, wide open layup. Oh, he missed it. In and out, no good. Rebound comes down for Daniels, and it's tipped out of bounds by Moore, and it's going to go back to Middle Township. So everything's just kind of rolling the Panthers' way right now.
Paul Moore needs to go home, take a nice nap, and forget about this game, because it's been a rough one for him.
Shelton and Catnosa play catch. Farraco bounce back to Cowan. Cowan, they really have a nice offense set up here.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing, where they should be, and that's 5 seniors. And now we're seeing Paul Moore and Tom Farraco, a little bit of extracurricular activities. They'll see each other again, odds are, this season. 2 proud seniors right now, and Farraco clearly on the better side today.
Yeah, this is the older brothers kind of pushing around the younger brothers right now. Cowan. Catnosa on the wing. Catnosa, left of the lane. Bounce pass for Farraco down low. And he does a great job. A little ball fake, gets the defender off his feet, and it gets to the line.
The little things like that. You see Middle make the extra pass today. You see Middle make the extra move down low, not rushing things. And they clearly came in today with a solid game plan about how they would handle themselves here on the road to Holy Spirit, and they've executed throughout the contest. Here's Farraco at the line shooting 2. He makes the first, and suddenly it's 47-28. Middle Township ahead with 5:13 remaining in the final period. Farraco with a chance to balloon the lead to 20 points right now.
Second one is good. 20-point advantage for Middle. Panthers travel, and you said last night they're out in Hamilton, go from Courthouse to Hamilton, Hamilton to Courthouse, Courthouse back to Absecon.
And remember, they're high school kids. I mean, this is not their job. They have other things to worry about. They got homework, and it is an impressive little stint here, the 2-day span, making a statement against an up-and-coming Hamilton squad that was 8-2, and then against Holy Spirit, which is unbeaten coming into this contest. They won't be there for very long. Middle Township looks like they'll hand Holy Spirit their first loss. And right now, Junior Santel and Paul Moore shrugging at each other. Some issues here getting set up on the free throw.
It's been that kind of day.
Yeah.
More
even setting up for the free throw here, knowing where they're supposed to be on the blocks is an issue. So Holy Spirit, as I said, the best thing they can do is to turn the page, not reimagine this.
The
one.
question is, do you put a lot of stock in this game today? I mean, both teams played last night. It's an early afternoon game. I mean, do you say, hey, Middle's just clearly better than Holy Spirit? Or
I'd say based on the first 15 minutes of this game, both teams were really sloppy, but Middle was able to shake that off. They were able to shake off the cobwebs, come in with a game plan here in the second half, and they've looked like a superior team.
3 ball on the way by Greer, no good. Rebound Spartans. Here comes Middleton. He loses the handle. Ball's on the floor. Cowan gets it. And Cowan just kind of shovels it over to Catnosa. Catnosa brings it up the floor. Over to Shelton. Shelton in the corner. 3, thought about it by Farraco. Cross court now, Cowan in the corner, 1 extra pass for Greer, and Greer says, nah, we'll kick back up top. Catnosa catches, he's on the floor. Boy, he plays a little dipsy-do with the ball. He takes a little shovel pass underhand to Cowan. He took steps, so they wipe it off, but little Harlem Globetrotter.
Matt Ulmer thought he had a heck of a highlight right there.
Yeah,
ruined by a little up and down.
Little Globetrotter-esque on the ground there for Catnosa. He kept the dribble, got up, and then shoveled an underhand pass to Cowan, who I think was a little surprised and shuffled the feet.
I said it earlier in the game, they don't get much more savvy in the Cape Atlantic League this year than Tom Catanoso. Little things he does during the game never cease to amaze.
Barnes on the wing. Mitty, Dixon. Now Barnes a three. Long, no good. Rebound, Greer. He came in and gave him a little spark, hit a three earlier. Shelton catches, back up top. Catnosa, three ball. Long, it hit the wire over top the net.
This zone isn't giving Middle any fits at all. They've been able to beat it down the court over and over again. Great ball security for the Panthers.
Summers into the game. Well, the officials the one who called the goaltending, I think admitting that he might have missed that one.
Yeah, essentially.
Easy to say now. Moore puts it on the floor, spins with the left hand. He gets it to the right hand, and he tries to chuck up a shot, and he gets blocked by the rim, essentially. A little too far under the rim there. Moore's really struggled, trying in any way possible to get the ball to the basket, try to get it from the outside, the inside. He just can't get going today. And with 3:22 left to play in the game, Middle leads by 20.
I don't know how much pain Paul Moore is in right now because he's still certainly favoring that right leg, and he's the senior. He's a proud guy, and I just wonder how the extent of his injury right now. I think that's something that's going to have to be observed in the next day or so, and when they return to the practice court on Monday. They've got a big matchup coming up Tuesday against Atlantic City. If you're talking about a limping Paul Moore, a guy that's not 100%, I don't know how this team fares against Atlantic City on Tuesday based on the way they played today against Middle.
That game will be on 97.3 ESPN Radio. You can check out our full high school page at 973ESPN.com, where you're watching this game right now, and Cape May County Sports.com. 48-28, 3:22 left to play in the game. Spartans, it doesn't appear that any starters are on the floor for Holy Spirit. Justin Sistrunk in the game, a sophomore, along with Tyler Jones.
Middle Township, on the other hand, playing 4 of 5 starters.
Yeah, Holy Spirit essentially waving the white flag here. Now, sometimes you do this to kind of show your starters, let them watch.
Make a little statement for Coach Gillespie. I think he needs to salvage something out of this, and if what you do is kind of, give a little bit of slap of reality to your players, sometimes that's the best thing you can do.
Offensive foul, a charge call on C.J. Barnes, and as he tried to get himself up, he kicked Lamar Greer in the head.
Long stairs, though, from the Spartan bench. Paul Moore, Junior Santel over there. And, they're watching the game, but it looks like they could be watching miles down the road because long stairs and sad faces right now for the Spartans. And they're a better team than this. There's no doubt about this. They're not a team accustomed to losing in this fashion. But it's going to be motivation to go back to the drawing board a little bit, especially when it comes to offensive execution. They've got a lot to work on between now and Tuesday when they take on an Atlantic City team that doesn't let you get away with mistakes.
And Jamie Gillespie is looking down at his coaches, and the question he's asking, they're going to take their guys out or what? Coaches always are thinking about that next game, that next time they meet them, that next situation, and he's looking at, he's talking right now with his dad. That staff over there is all kind of saying, this Middle team still got their guys out there. They're up by 20. We sat our guy. Are you kidding me?
One of those unwritten rules, right, Mike?
It's a fine line. I think Holy Spirit has pretty much shown, though, that they're waving the flag on this one.
Yeah. Well, now Middle Township, we get a chance for some of their younger guys, get at least a few minutes, and they leave a couple starters in here with Shelton and Farraco.
Shelton and Jalen Toney is into the game now, along with Greer, the younger Greer. Kerr, 3-ball by Shelton, and there's a 3. And we said it earlier, Shelton hit a dagger to make an 11-point game earlier, and now he hits a 3 to make it 51-28.
That's 3 3-point conversions for Shelton in this half. He's been so big. Couldn't get a lot going there in the first half. I'll be honest with you, I thought he looked tired early in the contest, but that has not been the case here since intermission. He's come out all smiles, too. He hits those threes. He shows off his pearly whites each time, too. He's a happy camper today. It's 51-28 Middle Township, and, that's about as lopsided of a scoreboard as you can see in a matchup like this.
Gene Allen in the crowd here.
Yeah, I have to wonder what Gene Allen sees today and what he really thinks and how he assesses Holy Spirit, because if he was coming to gain some information on how Holy Spirit's getting the job done, he didn't see much of that today.
St. Anthony's wins today. Their 75th straight win. They got that going for them.
As we mentioned, they take on Atlantic City very soon. Next weekend, I believe.
19th. And that's a game that will be up at St. Anthony. So no real local coverage of that game as they beat CBA today. Shamar Dixon, a little jumper there for the Spartans. They trail 51-30. Into the game is Bob DiPeso for middle. DiPeso with the ball. Puts it on the floor, spins. Back up top for Greer. Linnell Brooks in the game now, too, for middle, as both teams have virtually emptied the bench. I think I saw this game already today.
Yeah. Well, remember, Coach Farraco does not stop coaching. He's monitoring these guys. He wants to see how some of these younger guys handle the situation, regardless of what the score is now, because it takes a while to crack the starting line. If you don't see a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing for Middle Township through the years during Farraco's tenure.
Yeah, you look at Holy Spirit, as the three ball is no good. The rebound snapped down by Jelaine Toney. You look at Holy Spirit, they have three seniors on this team.
And one's hurt. Rasmussen's out with a hand injury.
Right, and one's hurt. And I was watching or listening to a broadcast Tom Williams at Ocean City and Oakcrest. And Oakcrest is another team that really only has two seniors on their team. A lot of young players playing in the league, and Oakcrest has been a team that the last couple of years have been pretty good. And now really only two or three. I think they have three seniors on that team.
And those are the years. And we got a foul here. Middle. Holy Spirit will head to the line. Number 20, C.J. Barnes, the freshman, will shoot a pair. Those are the years where you really have to try to tread water and learn your lessons. And last year, Middle did a superb job of that. They lost 2,000-point scores from their 2010 squad, and they were able to rebound when this group was all juniors last year, get all the way to the Cape Atlantic League championship game, make a nice little run in the South Jersey playoffs, fall shy of a title there. But they came back with lessons learned from last year's journey, and you're seeing that this year for Middle Township.
At the line for Holy Spirit, C.J. Barnes makes a free throw. Makes a pair, actually, to make it 51-32. Under a minute to play. To Peso. And by the way, Holy Spirit won that JV game earlier.
Right.
By 4.
Yeah.
I believe it was
43-39. And so those JV kids can say they scored 11 more points right now than the varsity guys.
Toney gets it blocked. Barnes, a left-hand layup is good. Holy Spirit, a little too late today for the Spartans, as they are going to drop today.
They'll fall to 6-3 on the season. This is their first Cape Atlantic League loss. Haven't had much success outside of the league this year so far.
DePeso dribbles it out, 6-5. And Middle Township comes into Absecon today and beats the Holy Spirit Spartans 51-34 here on a Saturday afternoon on 97.3 ESPN.com and Cape May County Sports.com. Mike Gill along with Tyler Donahue. And, boy, this is an old-fashioned butt-whipping there for Middle Township.
No other way to put it, really. Quite frankly, Middle Township came in here with a game plan. They started off sluggish, as did Holy Spirit. The difference was Middle Township shook that off. They shook off the rust, and they took, driving all the way to Hamilton last night for that game. I'm sure they didn't get back till very late. They had to be up here pretty early. So impressive the way Middle Township responded in the second half. Holy Spirit not able to get it going there like Middle Township was. And as we mentioned, Holy Spirit suffers their first league loss. That's big for them in a couple of reasons. One, they lose some ground in Atlantic City in the American Conference. Atlantic City faces Holy Spirit this upcoming Tuesday. That game will be one to watch. See how Holy Spirit responds. See if the Vikings can keep rolling. That game takes place in the Boardwalk Empire, Atlantic City High School, next Tuesday the 15th. So Holy Spirit will need to respond, and we'll see how they fare in that one. About to be joined by Darrell Shelton. Darrell, first off, big game for you in the second half. Quiet first half. You had that bus ride all the way up to Hamilton last night, and then you had to come up here early. I mean, how did your team handle that? Did you feel a little sluggish to start the game?
Oh, it's definitely hard going back-to-back games, but we practiced so hard during practice all week. We were ready for it. We're conditioned for 2 games back-to-back, so it helps, and coaches kept thinking about that all week.
Think about those 3-pointers. You made 3 of them there in the second half, but the 2 big ones in the third quarter as you started to pull away, you felt like you were starting to heat up from beyond the arc, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't take a shot the whole first half, but it's helped. My teammates trying to get me involved in the second half, and I got the right shots.
Talk about the all-around effort of your team. Seemed like you came with a nice game plan. Not a lot of mistakes, not a lot of turnovers. Practice, who do you give credit to? Is that just the fact that you're all seniors and juniors and they have some young guys?
It definitely helps that our players are experienced, but the coaching staff does a good job working us all week, trying to work on our game plan. We just executed it today.
St. Augustine picked up a big win while you're playing today. They crushed Southern Regional. So right now, you're keeping pace with them in the National Conference. You hand Holy Spirit a loss. This point in the year, does it feel like you're trying to really flex your muscles and establish yourself as an elite team in the Cape Atlantic League?
Definitely. A lot of teams are playing big games, getting big wins, and we got to step it up too with our league. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that right now.
And looking forward, what do you feel like your team needs to work on? Obviously a slow start tonight, but big win in Hamilton yesterday. Their team that's been playing hot. We were able to contain Christian Mortali, and you take turns playing, the hot hand. Last night it's Lamar with 23. Today you have a big second half. What's the key moving forward to get back to that South Jersey title hunt and also return to the Cape Atlantic League championship game?
Definitely defense. Middle Township, our program is known for our stingy defense, and we're trying to get back to that. And with the lack of points they had tonight, I think we did a pretty good job of that.
Some people say you don't have that true big man down low. How do you respond?
We all rebound, all 5 guys on the boards.
You showed it today, a lot of hustle on the court. Good luck. Have a nice trip home. Get some rest.
Thank you.
All right. Darrell Shelton joining us here at Holy Spirit and Absecon. An impressive effort for his program today, and Coach Farraco, and all getting it done. As he said, we all rebound, and that makes up for one player. That was the case today. Paul Moore tried to take it all on himself. So we'll see what happens. Holy Spirit now moves to 6-3 on the season, and they will face Atlantic City Tuesday. Middle Township, meanwhile, they move on. They get the pair of victories in the National Conference, one over Hamilton, the other over St. Augustine, and they already beat St. Augustine this year in impressive fashion in Cape May Courthouse, and now they get to move on, and they take on Oakcrest coming up here in just a few days. So impressive run of wins for them. They beat Ocean City, Hamilton recently, and now they face Holy Spirit. That's how they've responded to a loss at Atlantic City on the 3rd of January. It was a 58-39 loss on the road, and I know that Coach Farraco and that program was not happy about the way they finished that game in Atlantic City. Vikings really took it to them for much of the second half. Meanwhile, they've come back. They beat Ocean City by 21 points. Then they beat a respectable Hamilton squad by 7 on the road. They come back up here to Absecon tonight and trounce the Spartans up by 20 for much of the second half and throughout the fourth quarter. So an impressive victory for Middle Township. And for Mike Gill and Matt Ulmer on video, want to thank everyone for tuning in today. 97.3 ESPN.com and CapeMayCountySports.com. You can check us out, and we'll have plenty more action coming up throughout the season and into the playoffs as we take you through the South Jersey Championship chase. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Enjoy all the NFL action.